Connie and Cuthbert are recording some new tracks for the Dreamiverse. Cuthbert's not exactly a virtuoso, but you don't need to be one to play music in dreams. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to use the performance tools and instruments in sound mode. Then you'll be ready to start making your own original tracks. In the scene, you'll find a timeline. Open it up with L1 and X. Click R3 to give it a listen. It's just a simple drum beat. A nice place to start jamming with other instruments. Click L3 to rewind time. To add another instrument, we need to go to Sound Mode. Go to the Assembly menu and select Modes. Select Sound Mode, the one with the speaker icon, with X. Once in Sound Mode, select the Search button in the Sound menu. It's the one with the magnifying glass icon. In Sound Mode, the Search button has some extra options for searching specific types of sounds. Select the button for Search Instruments. You'll find tons of cool instruments in the Dreamiverse, but for this tutorial, I've made a collection to get started with. Open the collection with X. All of these sounds are instruments that you can play. Hover over any of them for a little preview of what they sound like. Unlike music clips, instruments don't have any music pre-recorded. So the previews you can hear are just to give you an idea of how the instrument sounds. The notes it plays will be down to you. Let's start off by laying down a bass line. Pick any instrument you like from the selection of basses. I'm going for FM classic bass, but creating music is all about personal taste. Once you have an instrument on your imp, hover over the timeline and it'll snap to the canvas. Stamp it onto a new row under Jazz Brush Kit and line it up to the start of the timeline. When you're ready to start jamming with your new instrument, move on to the next step. We now have two instruments on the timeline, but they look a little different. That's because Jazz Brush Kit has music recorded and the FM Classic bass doesn't. To start playing, we need to open the instrument. You can do this by selecting the instrument with X, then the Open Sound button in the context menu. But a quicker way to open it is to use the shortcut L1 and X. Just like we do when opening a microchip or timeline, or scoping into a group. Any sound can be opened this way, even sound effects. This colourful canvas is the sound's freeform view. The imp has undergone a bit of a transformation too. That's because we're performing. If you move your imp off the canvas, the buttons do their normal functions. But when you're hovering over the canvas, your controller buttons can play different notes using the instrument sound. Under your imp, you can see which notes are played by each button. The notes on the right are played by the action buttons. And the ones on the left are played by the directional buttons. These colourful spots on the canvas aren't just for decoration, they are effect fields. See what happens when you play notes while hovering over one of these spots. Effect fields can drastically change the sound of the instrument. With most effect fields, the effect is strongest in the middle and fades off to the edges. Different instruments have different effect fields. You can even edit and customize the fields to create your own version of the instrument. Let's not get too carried away with the possibilities just yet, though. First, get comfortable playing notes on the canvas. Try out all the effect fields and see if you can play a simple tune. Nothing is being recorded yet, so you're free to go wild. In the next step, we'll explore other ways of using freeform view. Now you've got a feel for performing in freeform view, let's look at some other features of it. In the context menu, find the button called Stop Performing. If you select this, your imp and controls will return to their normal functions, and you won't be able to play notes on the canvas. You can also stop performing by holding L1 and pressing circle when hovering over the canvas. The effect fields are now shown as gadgets. You can grab them with R2 to move them around, or tweak them with L1 and square. To go back to performing with the imp, just select the Start Performing button in the context menu. Or use L1 and X on the canvas. Try pressing the buttons in this order. X, square, triangle, circle, down, left, up, right. This progression of notes is called a scale. To be specific, this is the C minor pentatonic scale. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? You can change the scale by holding down R1 over the canvas. With R1 held, use the left stick to select a different key. The right stick is used to choose different scales in that key. Release R1 once you've made your choice, and the instrument will now play to the scale you chose. Different scales have different feels, so you can make your music sound happy or sad, bluesy or folksy, or just plain old avant-garde. You can play in whatever scale and key you want to, but it's usually a good idea to stick to that choice for the entire song. Explore the different keys and scales.